Welcome, Jai After Dark listeners, to another episode of, you guessed it, Jai After Dark.
True crime. Woohoo.
This is the truest crime I've ever experienced, and I don't know what to think. I think we're going to get into it, obviously, but hey, if your family members are dropping one at a time over a 16-year period, I don't know how long it's going to take someone to realize that the person with the funkiest name ever is probably the one that did it.
The call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, we're here to scare you again. This is Andrani's wicked stepsister, Jolly Joseph. She's the new focus. We will provide our wrath throughout the episode to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she's guilty, and Netflix makes no bones about it. They start pretty much saying she's already convicted, but she is not convicted. So I just want to get that out there right now. Yeah.
They're like roasting her from minute one, but it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I didn't realize that she's still in prison, and we're talking about someone that's still ongoing trial, and it's very similar to last month's paid episode for our subscribers, Indrani Mukherjee Buried Truth, which you can also find on Netflix. So
yeah,
today's episode is also from Netflix. I would say it's a lot easier to watch. It's one sitting. It's about an hour and a half. It's not a mini series. So, hey, if you got 90 minutes and you want to see India's Bonnie and Clyde, I don't know. What's a female
India's Black
American
Widow? I don't know.
Yeah, is Black Widow a serial killer in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Who's a serial killer in the U.S. that's a woman?
I don't know. Dude, America doesn't have a female president. In South Asia, we have female presidents. We have female serial killers, and U.S. doesn't have female serial killers. So what's going on? It's all about this trailblazing South Asian women, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. And hey, really quick, R.I.P. to Kabir Singh, who was a great comedian. Shabnam, I think you guys actually knew each other, went to high school together. He had a bit on America's Got Talent where he says brown and black people cannot be serial killers in the United States because we're going to get fucking caught. And if you're a white serial killer, that's why they're all white, because they can blend in. So yeah, you got to go to India to become a serial killer if you're brown. He was totally right.
That's really funny. Wow. Man, R.I.P. Yeah. I didn't know him very well, but I went to high school with him. So really, really sad that he passed so young. Yeah. This one's called Curry Cyanide. And I have to say, it's really gloomy these days, and it's raining a lot. And all this like watching of Curry Cyanide I'm doing, I am like really gonna, right after this, I'm gonna do like a nice DoorDash order of some spicy desi food that's gonna really hit the spot in this weather.
Hold the cyanide, right? Hold the cyanide.
Yeah, hold the cyanide, exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna make sure to add that note in my DoorDash order.
So it's hilarious that this is called Curry Cyanide. It seems like it's a racist play on a joke from 1995 that people would tell me in middle school or high school. I don't understand why they needed to call it Curry Cyanide. Jolly Joseph knows how to cook, but that's about the extent of what I can see as a connection. I don't think she had a restaurant or anything, but Curry Cyanide, why don't they just call it 7-Eleven turban owner and cyanide? Like, why don't they just do that if they wanted to get all racist?
Well, she did use the like food as a tool for, but actually sometimes she didn't. So you're right. I don't know. It's just a catchy phrase, but it is
funny. The initial credits, when it comes on, it scared the shit out of me. They have this like orange and black kind of scene. It's not like a very pretty onion, and they get this dull knife, and it's like chop, 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 chop. And I was like, oh shit. Like maybe she was a chef, and that's how the series starts. So I thought, like, yes, she's poisoning people, obviously, but yeah, she did it under the guise of like feeding her family members. But hey, we're laughing and stuff, but this is like a seriously unwell documentary to watch. Like, I hated it.
Yeah.
Like, I hated every aspect of it.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's start out with the story takes place in
Mhm.
Kerala, India. And that's a city in South India. And before we get started, there's a few things you need to know about the people's names in this story. You'll notice a bunch of names are typically more English or Western names. And that's because of colonialism and Portuguese influence. But there are some South Indian names, which can be particularly difficult, but just sound them out. And then, however many letters you think they have, you're wrong. It's not enough. Add at least 5. And then, lastly, so many people in this story have hilariously ironic names, starting with the accused, Jolly Joseph, like Samim said. She's not so jolly after all, I guess.
Oh man, it's funny because we just released Roshans, right?
Yeah.
On our free feed, and one of the Roshans, his wife is named Pinky, and me and you were talking about this, how there's Ruby and Pinky, and even my mom is Rumi, but that's not her name,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of like, I guess, nicknames, but I don't
Nicknames.
think this
Yeah.
was her nickname. This was her legit name. Like, I
I
think this
think it
was
was
her
her legit
first name.
name.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. So I don't know where they got it from. I mean, I know where they got it from, but it's kind of funny. Like, we also discussed Julie. So they also pronounce it a little bit different. It's not like jolly, like, it's not
Yeah.
a big O sound. So I was trying to see, like,
Jolly Joseph.
Jolie Joseph. No, dude, this lady's
Yeah.
behind you. I'll be like, what the fuck, Jolly? Get away from me. You wouldn't be like, Jolie, no, please don't kill me. So yeah, it's, you need to come really correct.
Yeah. So this mom named Jolly Joseph is taken into custody in the early mornings hours from her home. She's charged with killing her mother-in-law, father-in-law, her husband, and 3 others over a period of 14 years, like Samim said. Without raising any suspicion, she got away with this for 14 years. So she was supposedly a faculty member of this National Institute of Technology, NIT, not to be confused with MIT, which is in Boston. She had a good connection with the church, appeared very family oriented and super well liked. But apparently, looks can be deceiving. So, just to going back to her names, and we've harped on that enough, but as a call out, as our listeners might know, we have Russell Peters. So Russell Peters' family is from the same area, and he always makes these jokes about why is his name Russell Peters, but he's from South India. And so if you're interested in that whole background, you can check his stuff out too. We saw him a
Yeah,
few,
yeah, I was gonna bring
few
it up,
months
yeah.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and he literally brings it up, and I'm like, "Dude, you've been doing the same shtick since the '90s," but he's totally correct. I think his dad's name is, like, Dan Peters or something, he said, so it was even
Yeah.
worse than Russell Peters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. So, police exhumed these 6 bodies to begin the investigation. And the lead investigator on the case, his name is KG Simon. And so he was a superintendent of police in this town called Kuratai, and he worked on the case of the death of Roy Thomas, the eldest son of the Ponamattam family, which was a prominent family in South India. So the investigation began because Roy Thomas's siblings filed a complaint, and the report stated that he died from cyanide poisoning, but didn't say how he was poisoned or any reason for a suicide attempt. So KG thought that sounded pretty cagey. So he got involved in the case. I told you all the names are ironic. So in 2019, when Jolly Joseph was arrested, KG interviewed her, and she just totally confessed. But her lawyer, B.A. Allure, says confessions in police custody should always be considered suspicious because the individual could be confessing under duress. Which I kind of agree with him, but not in this case.
But he also says that you cannot use that statement to prosecute. So I don't know if that's a law in India, because here you can.
Yeah, here you can. You can totally use it, and you would use it. Just the lawyer would come in and challenge the statement in court, right? So whoever's giving the testimony about the statement, like a police officer or whatever it is, he would then question him on rebuttal to basically point out the shadiness of it, the caginess of it, if you will.
Yeah,